Okay, so we have been so lucky to get one of my very close friends, don't laugh, one of my very close friends, Jen, or GI Jen on her Instagram, but her name is Jennifer Nicole Malacarne, and she's a really good friend of mine, and we miss each other so much. Hi, Jen.
Hi, how are you? I'm going to give you an air hug because I
I
can't hug you in
know.
person.
I know. I miss you so much. And normally we do this anyway, kind of on FaceTime when we talk about the day when we can't see each other. But it's been a long time since we've seen each other. And normally we see each other at Porsche Experience Center as well, which is your home from there, right? You're working from home.
I am. This is my makeshift office, as you will, which has been somewhat crazy to get used to because I'm used to the hustle and bustle of everyone coming in the building and seeing everyone every day. And I'm solo, so it's just me, myself, and I, and my computer screens all day. And it's quite nice actually to have a little bit of an adjustment of having quiet time and getting all my emails done. So my inbox is at 0 right now, which is I think almost unheard of since I've started with Porsche.
That is actually amazing. My email is not at 0. So I don't know why I keep getting emails. It's crazy. But this week has been kind of crazy. And I was so glad you agreed to talk to us and do this virtual event for California Festival of Speed because you're such a big part of my life now. And I was really fortunate to meet you at the Porsche Experience Center. And we've obviously become really close friends. And I know a lot of these questions that I'm going to ask you. So it's going to be for us kind of old hat, but I think your story's so interesting, and it's kind of why I was drawn to you as a friend. And we met during one of a group of girls all had lunch. We call it Women in Porsche that Lorena Esposito's put together, and you were so nice to come and join us and kind of give us your story. And I think that you should share it with the world because it's so cool. And just to also have another woman that's so interested in cars and who is not just a girl who can talk about cars, but you've been driving for a long time, and your story is just great. So let's just dive into who you are and what got you into cars. What started all of it?
It's a funny question. A lot of people ask me this, and it's always the same consistent answer, and people are always shocked. Really, why I got into cars is because of speed. I didn't have a father that was a mechanic. I didn't have a brother that was a race car driver. I didn't grow up around cars. My dad was a fireman, so it was always about big red and white trucks. And I loved roller coasters, and I loved speed, and I loved going fast. And so I was always drawn to roller coasters. The minute I could get behind the wheel, even if I was sitting on my dad's or mom's lap, I would be right there. I loved the fact that I could control a car, and I thought that was really cool. And as soon as I got old enough to drive, I actually bought my car before I could actually drive it. I bought it at 15 and a half because I got it from my next door neighbor. It was a VTEC Honda Prelude, and I loved that car. That's actually how I taught myself how to drive stick shift. I had a manual transmission in that car, and my parents lived at the base of Mount Baldy, so anyone that's local would know what Glendora Mountain Ridge Road is and the switchbacks at Mount Baldy, which is really where I taught myself how to drive. My dad, did the dad thing and tried to get me into a parking lot and show me how to go and drive around cones. And I said, Dad, this isn't for me. I just need to feel the car. I need to understand the car. It needs to speak to me. And so that's really what got me into it. It was just me in the car and understanding how that worked and not even knowing all the mechanics of it because I didn't know that and I didn't grow up on that. I wasn't fortunate enough to have that experience. I mean, when my dad worked on cars, it was usually him cussing at the car because, the oil, there was oil problems or there's something leaking or he had to change the brakes and he was pissed that he had to do it. So I think in that regard, it just really kind of gave me a whole different perspective. I came in with a fresh perspective and I loved driving, and that was really what got me started. And once I started, like anyone that gets into cars, they just get addicted quickly and they get it.
So Preludes are a long way from Porsches, although I did like a Prelude back in the day as well. So I want to know what got you to come over to Porsche? What draws you to the Porsche brand? Because obviously you are, I don't think I've actually properly introduced you. You are the general manager of Porsche Experience Center LA. And I think it's such an interesting place to be as a woman, just because, as we've discussed before, we run up against walls when it comes to men and cars and the way that they talk to us sometimes. So although I feel like I've had advantages and I've had disadvantages in that way where people who don't really understand, but I feel like the Porsche group has really welcomed women and has been a really good family. And obviously you're working in a great company with Porsches and people respect you so much. So how does a woman get to that point? What brought you to the Porsche Experience Center?
Yeah, that's a good question. And you know, it's, again, it goes back to when I first got the Prelude and I joined a car club, and I was always doing car stuff on the side, and I thought I would be a fashion designer, as you know. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was doing this thing on the side, going to fashion design. I was an esthetician. I got, you know, went to the state board. I thought I was maybe going to work on cruise ships for a while. I was going to do makeup. And I had all this stuff, but I always had consistency when it came to driving cars and being around cars. And everyone was super welcoming. And it was because I was passionate about it. It wasn't like I was trying to be at a car club because I was trying to find my next boyfriend. I didn't care about the guys. I just wanted to see the cars. And there was something that drew me to that. And I think that when you're genuine, when you're authentic about it, and you're saying, hey, I want to understand this. That's kind of where it came to. And so I ended up going to an agency, and that agency did all the highest, best aftermarket brands. I got the really awesome experience of working with Recaro. I love that brand. That became my baby. That was my account. I worked with Brembo. I did all their press releases. I did a lot of events for Brembo. Pirelli, worked on Miles and Mules. So when they did their cookbook, we did a launch of their cookbook. So I had all these really unique experiences with all these amazing aftermarket brands. And really what drew me in was I was thinking, here I am, you know, and at that point, I won't tell you how old I am, you know, but I was just thinking like, hey, here I am single. I'm so focused on all these guys trying to build their careers if I was with somebody. And it came to the point where I thought, you know what, I need to start building myself, because I'm always in that team mentality where I want to be with somebody and we're a team. We're supposed to help each other. And if I was dating a race car driver, if I was dating somebody else, it was like I always wanted him to shine. I don't need to shine. And what I realized is that I was always putting myself on the back burner, and shame on me for doing that. So I really was thinking, okay, where do I want to be? I've worked with all these great brands. Ducati, Formula Drift. I worked with Michelin. I was a Michelin ambassador. I could talk all days about rubber compounds. You would blow your mind. And I love that stuff because it's really cool. And when you have a conversation with a guy, it's not like we're trying to have a contest of who has more knowledge. It's just, I can hold my own. And it was really cool because I grew up as a tomboy. So for me, it's a natural thing. It's a natural, for me, I can have a conversation with anyone about whatever it is, and especially when it comes to cars. And so I was thinking, and I always laugh because when I told you this at 9/17, when we had that Women in Porsche Day, I said, do you want the real answer? Or do you want the political answer? The real answer, quite honestly, is that I wanted a husband. And I said, who am I going to find? Who am I going to find? And where would I find my husband? Because I worked for Gotham Dream Cars, which is in New York. We drove cars around. We took people on tours. I've done Bull Run Rally, as you know. I've done Gumball Rally. I've been around all these exotic cars. I was the spokesperson for Lotus for a couple years. I drove a Lotus Exige actually across from Montreal, Canada to Key West, Florida. So I know the stereotypes, and I won't go into the stereotypes of all these different manufacturers because I love them all. But I was thinking, who is going to be the guy that I'm going to marry? And honestly, when I think about Porsche, I think about the brand, the heritage, the motorsports. It's a very technologically advanced company. We're talking about German precision, German engineering. We're very intellectual. You talk about so much stuff that goes into the lifestyle of Porsche, because we're more than just a car brand. We are a lifestyle. And I really thought, you know what, this is where I'm going to go. These are my people. This is my calling. And so that was ultimately what brought me into Porsche as a joke in the beginning. But then it really became something that was really tangible for me, because they were starting this experience center. They didn't know where it was going to be. They were talking about it over at where they were filming for Top Gear at El Toro in Orange County. They're talking about it maybe being in Ontario. They were talking about it being somewhere in Carson. So I was just kind of dating them for a while, going, okay, like, could I really do this? And what could I do? And how could I fit in? And where would I fit? Because I come from this agency background. I come from the car world. I know seats, I know brakes, I know tires, I know suspension, I know, I could talk KW, and, it's like, what do I have to offer Porsche? But when you look at what Porsche does, and they have Brembo brakes and they have Recaro seats on Porsche Motorsport. So I was just thinking, okay, I need to just get more, knowledge on Porsche cars and try and go wow them and try and make my mark so I could get into the brand. And we talked for about 3 years before I actually got the job. So anyone out there that wants a job at Porsche, just know a very small company. People don't typically leave Porsche because once you get in, you never want to leave. I would say I'm a lifer for sure. But overall, it was where I felt like I had my calling. So that's how I got there.
It's for me, it's a personality. I mean, I grew up in Orange County basically, but I've been all over. I've lived in New York. I've lived in Lake Tahoe. I've lived in different areas. And for me, it's a personality. The cars have a personality, and the drivers, you can almost do a sketch of them, knowing who they are, what they're wearing, what's going on, and so it comes down to a taste level. And I do think that for me, Porsche has an elegance and a sophistication. And so what I lack, that car gives me. No, but I feel like it gives you an idea of who the person is. And just even down to the designing of looking at the Porsche Experience Center, it's such a sophisticated look. It's not like it's just, everything's fine lined and just beautiful. And the glass and the work area for Porsche North America. Motorsport North America.
Porsche Motorsport
is just like, it's so clean and so beautiful. And also the restaurant at Porsche Experience Center at 917, which I know was kind of one of your babies. I know some of your own articles are sitting up on the walls there because it's such a personal thing for you. So tell us about the restaurant 917 and what went into that.
Yeah, I know you've eaten there and you like it a lot. So that's true.
It's amazing.
917 is thank you for the endorsement. Yeah, 917 is amazing. We actually have one of the best chefs out there, and I say that with pride because we stole him with pride from the Getty. He worked as the executive chef from the Getty Museum, and he's actually a car enthusiast himself. So we courted him for quite a while. We gave him tickets to Long Beach Grand Prix every year, took him through the backstage pass, saying, Matt, you ready to come on board? So he actually got to help design the kitchen. And when we were taking a look at the naming convention of what we wanted to name the restaurant, Atlanta had already opened, and when they had opened, they had what they call 356, which is obviously the 356. And that was one of my dream cars, as you know. So I thought, shoot, now I can't name it 356. And we also wanted to think about calling it Ferries. We thought about Christophorus because in the museum in Germany is Christophorus. We thought about calling it different names of Porsche names, but they were all trademarked and we couldn't use that. So we're trying to come up with something different. And obviously, because we're the only experience center that has motorsports connected to us, we really wanted to use that as something that we could really get behind and show where we would have the bridge between road car and race car. So when you come into the PEC, you can't see my hands, when you come into the PEC, one side is PMNA, Porsche Motorsport, one side is Porsche Cars North America, which is what I run. And in this middle, you have the gallery, which is what we change up for morning shift, as you know. And so when we went into the restaurant, we were thinking, what do we do to kind of bridge that gap? And when we were thinking about, historic race cars, of course, the 917 came to mind because it won 2 historical races back to back in the 70s. And we said, what is that? And that's such a phenomenal car. We actually have one in Motorsports Garage right now. I got to touch today, which is awesome. So we went through that. And then the whole idea of the design behind 917 was because I had actually had the opportunity. I took my vacation, went to Le Mans in 2015. And we won Le Mans that year. And then we ended up going and doing a hat trick. So we won back to back. But before we even did the hat trick, going to Le Mans and going into the race and having that experience and being there with the team and seeing Wolfgang Porsche in the crowd, literally as just a bystander. It wasn't like he was, he had 24/7 security guards around him. He was just like you and I, in a t-shirt and a Porsche t-shirt and jeans in pit lane with all these people celebrating. It's like, wow, that's so inspirational. I still have a picture of that on my phone of that day, just showing my friends like, that's Wolfgang Porsche. No one would know it was him. And that whole experience, the food, the lifestyle of that, people in the village and the church that's there, if you get to go, you and I have talked about this, we got to go, we have to do that. But really it came down to this whole idea of a French countryside. And so when you're trying to pitch the French countryside to 2 Frenchmen at the time, our CFO, Thierry Cartoshian, and our old former CEO, Detlef von Platen, who's also French, when I tried to pitch this whole idea that this small group of people helped me produce and our creative team, which is awesome. They also do our auto shows and stuff. So we came in and we wanted to pitch this whole idea of the restaurant, and I'm telling them it's French countryside to two French people. They go, "This doesn't look French at all." But
Yeah.
needless to say, after a bottle of wine, some cheese, some crackers, they had never had a meeting that I don't think in the history of PCNA that they had ever actually had a meeting where they had somebody bring them wine and cheese and crackers on a charcuterie board and said, "This is 917." And we had the Gulf 917 next to it. And we had flowers on the table that I had pitched this whole idea, and it ended up going. So I say to people, to me, it's French countryside. There's a picture at 917 at a restaurant. It's the Pink Pig 917. It's next to a barn. Stefan Johansson is the one. Actually, no, it's not Stefan. Stefan Young. That's it. I'm thinking of Stefan, the race car driver. Stefan Young, who works for Porsche AG. He's the photographer that took those prints that are in the restaurant. We do get asked that a lot because people like those prints. And that was really the whole history and how it came to be. So it was a very small group of us. We worked day and night. We had 6 days to come up with that restaurant design. It got approved. So if you hear from our CFO, he'll tell you it's not French country, but I say it's French country because of what you see there. So it's kind of
Well,
cool.
it actually does. The food is excellent, and I've spent a lot of time in France. I speak French, and so I would say I'm going to go with you on that. It is a lot more modern looking, but it's got warmth, and I do love it. I love that you can overlook the not racetrack, the development track, and so we'll get to that in a minute. But you had also mentioned morning shift. That's where we met, and I think my boyfriend had gone first, and you put the car in the gallery at one point, and then I met you after that with the girls, and tell me about morning shift, because I think it's the best cars and coffee, if you want to call it that, around, and it's at Porsche Experience Center. But the thing that I love the most is that you give a focus car, or like it's 356 day or it's 911 day or whatever, but you'll invite in any car that wants to come and showcase their car if they fit in the parking lot, which lately has been a challenge because it's so popular and I just love it. Tell us how that came about and what people can expect if they come to a morning shift.
Yeah, and thank you for always coming, because I always appreciate having you there, of course, because you have one of the coolest cars. So morning shift became about, we actually wanted to start it in 2016 when we opened, and we kind of got some pushback on it just because it's like, there's so many cars and coffee. You and I mean, even on days that I'm not working, I say, hey, you've called me up. We've gone to Crystal Cove together. We've done Classy Cars detailing when they had their open house. You and I have always done that kind of stuff just on the side. So it's like, when you can literally do something every weekend, every Saturday, every Sunday, why would we want to do another one? And it was kind of one of those things that we had to push up to the executive team to say, look, we really believe in this. Our VP of marketing, Pedro Mota, actually comes. He worked and he lived in Newport Beach for a while because he's the former vice president of Area West that handles all of our dealers. So he's very familiar with California car culture. He's a car fanatic himself. He can talk about cars all day. So when he came on board and we were talking about it, we said, Pedro, we really want to do this. We're still fighting for this. We think it's a good thing. Like, my gut's telling me that we really need to do something, have a space for the people and make it about community, because Porsche, again, like you said, it's all about community. And so we finally got the nod on it to say, okay, let's try it. So we're going to do the first Saturday of every month, which we've continuously done. So we started it. And, doing it last year, it was such a crazy thing because we had 3 months of rain every first Saturday of the month. And the first morning shift that we did was over 350 people, and it's grown and grown and grown. So pretty much our average right now is over 700 people, and our car, like the whole parking lot is packed, and, it's just super crazy, but we love it. And, it's Porsche. One thing I have to say about the brand, and obviously I work for Porsche, but even when outside of Porsche, I had a Porsche before I worked for Porsche. So I say that so people know I'm not completely biased, but it's the lifestyle. We're not an exclusive elitist brand. You'll never see, like, what I love about, and it like literally makes my heart whole and happy, is when I see a 918 owner talking to somebody that just bought their first 944, and you're smiling. I don't think people can see people smiling because
Hi, I'm smiling.
Yeah, because that we don't care. It's not, I could have a $5,000 old Porsche. I could show up in, I I love other cars too. I could show up in another car. No one's going to, say, oh, well, you're in this car. You need to go to that, the back of the house, or you're in this car or whatever. When we did the off-road day, that was such a cool day. And that was earlier this year. And when we did off-road and we saw the amount of people that came out, when it was the Range Rover clubs, Toyota, it got on the Toyota forums. All these Toyota guys came out. We're walking the parking lots. People set up their campers, their tents. We had people that had actually like full on in their camper shell. They had like kegs and stuff that they were showing like how they could camp out for days. It's like, that's so cool.
It was really cool. I loved seeing that. And I don't know that many people know, if they haven't been there, that you have an infield that is made and for dirt, and there's just dirt. And so as I was doing a parade lap during one of those events, I'm looking over and people are going up and down this dirt mound and testing their cars. And it was just so cool. And the setups were amazing, and see Land Cruisers there, or different setups, was so awesome and so inclusive. And I think that's what's so special about Porsche Experience Center.
And you get to meet cool people like you. I mean, again, it's like, you're a Porsche person and we completely hit it off, and we've been friends ever since. And that's really cool about our brand is, again, anyone could show up. It doesn't matter what you have. I started with the Honda Prelude. Not everyone that gets a silver spoon fed to them in their mouth, so they don't start with the Porsche, right?
Nope.
And so you can come up and you can drive whatever you want, and you can talk to people about different things. And sometimes people will let you drive their cars, and that's also really cool, because then you can experience what you like and, just talk about it and see new things. And we've had, Graham Rahals come in his Ford GT. He's like, oh, can I come in a Ford GT? I go, Graham, are you kidding me? It's a Ford GT. Yes, please.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we have a lot of really cool guys that do action and stunts and film, and they got really cool cars that have come down. We've seen some OEM manufacturers that have come down that have brought new cars, concept cars to the PEC. So, we're one of those brands, and we open our doors and we have open arms, and we'd love to see more of that come out, because again, it's all, at the end of the day, we're all just people that love cars. And if we can genuinely be passionate about it and want to be there, we want to meet you and we want to know you, and we want you to feel like family.
Yes. And I think that we all do. I think I've made my friends and I walk around with them, and when you're not available, because you barely ever are, because she's being pulled in so many different directions by different people, but everyone just meets up. We all see each other, we all know each other, and it's just an awesome experience. Now, there's other things that the Porsche Experience Center does other than just a cars and coffee, or a restaurant, or a gallery of cars. You can also take delivery on your car. So what happens if I order, and I'm going to order today, I'm going to order a 911 Turbo S. I hope somebody's listening, because it's not going to be this girl who's ordering it now. In chalk, I'd like it to be, a Turbo S. That's all I'm asking. Carbon fiber brakes, if we can just throw it in. So if I get that delivered through you, what can I expect? What is the delivery experience, and why would I want to do that as opposed to just picking it up somewhere else?
When we started new vehicle delivery, we had to differentiate ourselves between when somebody comes to their dealer, builds the car of their dreams, right? Ferry Porsche started and said, I want to build the car of my dreams because I can't find it. So he built it himself. So essentially, when you're building the car of your dreams, you should have it as a magical moment, a very special moment. And there's always been a box that you can tick, and a lot of European manufacturers, other than Porsche, you can go to Germany, you can actually get your car picked up, and you can go and drive the car for a little bit, and then they ship it back to you, and it's a really cool ordeal to see your car come off the production line. So what we do at the PEC of Los Angeles, and actually PEC Atlanta does the same thing, they have a new vehicle delivery program. So when you're building your car, you would check a box for Atlanta delivery or check a box for LA delivery, and then the car would come here. So what's really cool about it is I'm actually tracking my car right now, because I have a 992 that I'm super excited about, because I've never had a 992, and I'm driving a 991 right now. So I'm going to have them back to back. So I can track that car when I work with if I was essentially like your Turbo S, we could track your car and your chalk Turbo S, mind you. So your chalk Turbo S, we could tell you literally when it gets off the production line, when it gets onto the vessel, when it gets to the port, when it's arrived at the port. We can give you all these updates, which is super cool. So I'm tracking my car right now. I know that it arrived to San Diego port, and I'm just dying for somebody to touch it. So that way I know that it's going to the dealership so I can get it. So that would be you. So you get to have all this excitement built up So it's not like you just order a car and then all of a sudden it's at the dealer and it's yours and you just need to come pick it up. So we literally track all these different pieces of the puzzle as we're putting this thing together. And then you can come and bring your guests to the Experience Center. And let's say you and Lee, your boyfriend, he was awesome. So you and Lee come to the Experience Center and your car has a veil over it. So you can't see it, but you can see the awesome curves of it because it's a Porsche. And we meet with you and then we'll say, okay, Lara, we're going to have you drive the Turbo S on our track. So we'll take you out in one of our Turbo S cars so you don't have to worry about your tires, brakes, or fuel. You'll go out for 90 minutes with a driving coach. They'll teach you all the ins and outs of the car. So you can do launch control in it. You can learn understeer, oversteer, all that good stuff about your car. So you can really test the limits of the car. So that way you feel really comfortable as a driver when you get into that car and you actually get into the real world and on the road. And then you'll come back. You'll come into our new vehicle delivery lounge. So if anyone's been to the Experience Center, it's the room that has the glass barn sliding door. And there's a bunch of stuff on the walls where you can actually pick the car of your dreams. So I like to do that when I build my cars. So you can go in there and then your car will be there with the veil. We'll take the veil off. You'll see the car for the first time. We get all this captured on camera. So that way you have that memory and you have that moment, which is really great with your driving instructor, with your new vehicle delivery specialist. Sometimes I'm there or one of our managers will be there to congratulate you on your car as well, because we love to share the experience. And then we'll take you on a walk around your car, and your drive coach and your new vehicle delivery specialist will actually make sure that you're all configured with the car. So we'll go through your build sheet, make sure that you got your carbon fiber additions that you wanted, to make sure that it's chalked, to make sure that everything that you ordered on your build sheet is actually there, and we can point it out. We'll make sure that your cell phone's integrated into the car, that Lee's cell phone's integrated in the car, that yours is the number one memory, that he's number two.
This is very important. That's very important. Thank you. Okay, go on.
Yes, exactly. So you're number one. So all your program is good. And then after that, we'll take you upstairs. You'll eat at 917. We'll have a specialized menu for you, which is great. So it's a chef selection menu. You can choose, you can still choose, but it's got your name on it. We give it to you so that way you can commemorate that as well. And then while you're actually upstairs in the restaurant, we'll take that Turbo S of yours and we'll be moving it around the building. So when the car gets in, when we first get the car, we actually put it into our workshops and we do a PDI. It's like a Porsche inspection process. So we have pictures of your car in our motorsports workshop because we share it with motorsports. Then it gets pulled into the new vehicle delivery lounge. We take pictures of you as this whole time. We take pictures outside while you're eating. And then when you come back, you actually sign, which is super cool. It's what we call our Hollywood star. And that is what we put on the wall.
Part. Yeah, I love
yes.
this. I did not know this happened, and I need to know how to get on that wall.
Yeah, so the only way to get on that wall is if you actually get new vehicle delivery. But what's super cool about that is that you have this little, it's a circular star, and it has the number, and that number is what is on your car in the passenger side, top right of the windshield. You'll see that there's a number. So hopefully you get your lucky number. But we've had quite a few deliveries, which is kind of cool, but we're still under 1,000. So you can still get a low number. Hopefully somebody will get lucky and get like 911 or 917 or something. But so you'll have that in the top right-hand corner of the passenger side. You'll sign off on the star. What's also cool, I think you know this, but Dave Navarro was our first new vehicle delivery. So nice. He signed that wall. Nice. He said that was more important than the actual Hollywood star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I said, can we record that? Can we use that? And he's like, I'm sure that'd really be a bad idea.
Yeah, right.
But super cool. So people get to do that, and it's just a really cool experience. And then obviously we know you, we know you're a car girl. We know that Lee's a comic book writer. Maybe we could throw something in there. So we give you like this gift bag that is really tailored to you. So it's also just to commemorate your day with us. And we give you the flash drive with all of the pictures for the day. Like I said, you get to keep your menu. So it makes it really super special. And honestly, for the price of a driving program, that's what you would pay for a new vehicle delivery in Atlanta or Los Angeles. And you get all of that. And most people that do this new vehicle delivery program with us, typically they're there from 4 to 8 hours. I mean, they could be there the whole day. Because you can go into the retail store, you can go into the simulator lab. All of our staff knows they'll know you. They'll see you at the front, and it's not just because we know you because you're regular at the Experience Center, but we know everyone's briefed. Your name is on the screen when you come in, so that's also really cool. I mean, we've had people now that have had over 5 deliveries. I mean, Lisa Taylor, as you know, is one of them. She's also an awesome Porsche woman, and she's had super crazy amounts of deliveries. And Rodrigo Salas, which is one of my teammates for Gunner Racing, who actually has the 962. He really super cool guy. He should be having like 6 deliveries this year, total from all of his other deliveries. So, I mean, it seems like we're doing something right. And I have to give kudos to Charles Turner, which is our new vehicle delivery specialist. He's amazing. And our drive coaches that run that program, because you know me and I know you, and you have a lot of Porsche passion, but these guys exude Porsche passion, and they're drinking that Porsche Kool-Aid night and day. And it makes it really fun because it makes the whole experience really fun.
Lisa needs to get one of those jackets that the SNL people get, the 5 Timers Club. That's what you need to get her. Just some sort of blazer, kind of like when you win the golf.
Yes.
Thing.
I'll get right on that. I'm going to make a note of that.
Yeah, maybe 5, 6 timers. She's deserving of that with her candy colored Porsches. It's amazing. Okay, yep. So let's talk about your 356. We've tooled around in it. I get out and I smell like gasoline and love. And I love it so much. And our cars are perfectly suited to drive alongside each other. So I do love that as well. They're really cute together. We didn't even plan it. We didn't even know that was going to happen. So that's amazing. But tell us how you got your 356 and what went into that.
I have to go back to the day that you and I were at Crystal Cove, and how many guys came up to us and said, wow, it's so nice to see 2 women show up. And we're like, well, we're just happy to bring both of our 2 green cars next to each other. And we just wanted to park them and take pictures. And so many people came up, were like, we need you to come back.
They're like, excuse me, do you guys actually know how to drive stick? And we're like, yeah. It's like,
yeah,
typical questions of our day is, oh, you can drive a stick. You're like, yeah, I can. Just like you can.
Mm-hmm. So true. Yeah. So I love 356s. About 10 years ago, I sent my mom a picture of me in a really beautiful blue Speedster. It was actually a replica, but it was so spot on. And he had the rosary in the rearview mirror hanging down. The interior was pristine. We used it for a photo shoot for a car care company that I was helping to launch. And I got to drive it around, and I told the owner, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And he's like, yeah, I'll tell you a secret. It's a replica. I go, I don't care. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just super cool. Well, I did some more research. I sent it to my mom. I said, one of these days I'm going to own one, and I'm going to own a real one. And I didn't realize how much they had skyrocketed in price. And so I always thought, I make jokes. I go, well, at some point I'll have dual income, so I'll be okay. I'll have to get married before I get one of those, Or not. It kind of worked out differently, but eventually you'll get that dual income, I'm sure. Go on. Yeah. So I just thought, okay, this is a pipe dream. I'm going to put it on my wall. You can see some of the stuff behind me. I actually have a picture in my room of the car that I was looking for. And I just kind of have it on my Pinterest board. Like, I just love, the 356. I love the oldness of it. I love the nostalgia, as you made it mention when I picked you up. I said, oh, I hope you're prepared for your hair to smell like fuel. But guys like that. So,
it's their perfume. They're like, what? Why am I attracted to her?
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so that's no big deal. So I just really wanted to get one. And I always, when I can't sleep at night, I kind of do what a lot of people do, and they go on Hemmings, and they go on, Bring a Trailer, and they go on all these different things. And I was kind of looking at some cars, and my friends knew that I was looking for one. And I got a call from a good friend of mine in Texas that I did road rallies with. And he said, hey, we bought 2 cars out of Texas, and we think this one could be yours. It's a fixer, but you can get it for a really good price. We'll hook you up on it, and we can even do some of the work out of the garage. So originally I did buy that car, and I couldn't believe it, but I got it for such a crazy deal. I spent like $33,000 on this car. But when I bought it, we thought the floor was okay, and we thought everything was going to be all right. And Rod kept telling me, he's like, Jen, I don't know about this. It's like, yeah, but in Texas, everything's cheaper. I'll get labor cheaper there. I can do this.
When you say Rod, it was just none other than Rod Emery, because why would it be any other Rod? Yeah, she just, when I'm going to buy a 356, let me just talk to the leading 356 guy and just ask him a question. But go on.
Yeah, I know. I just called my bro, and I was like, hey, bro, what's up? Which is actually what happened, because, Rod and I are brother and sister. So, So I called Rod. I said, hey, Rod, what is this? And he's like, I don't know about that. And it was just a funny conversation because I said, Rod, I'm so sorry. My heart, what my heart wants. I want Smyrna Green. This was a Smyrna Green car. And I was thinking, I called Pat Long. I said, Pat, have you ever had a
I'm sorry. You called Pat Long. Oh, okay. Let me just wrap my head around, because when I buy cars, you know what I do? I just pick up, talk to Pat Long and Rod Emery. Okay, sorry. Go on. I'm sorry, Jen, continue.
When you're in the industry for so long, you do have a couple people you can call, right? So I called Pat, and I'm like, Pat, have you ever had a Smyrna Green at Lifka Cult? He's like, no. I was like, okay, click. Like, I'm going to buy this. So I impulse bought. I flew out there to Texas, bought the car. 2 weeks later, my friend goes, uh-oh, got a call. Not a call I want to make, but I'm telling you right now, it's probably a car that we're going to need to sell in Dubai. I go, what happened? So
in
they
Dubai?
were cleaning out the car.
Why in Dubai?
They sell a lot of cars in Dubai because they flip cars. It's yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Anyway,
go on.
Long story short, they're like, all right, we're gonna probably have to sell this car. So I said, well, what happened? I'm so into this car. I bought a license plate frame that I got on eBay, which is super cool because I had asked this guy for so long, and I said, where did you get this license plate? Because it said, let's play my Porsche. I thought that was so cool. And so I bought this. I had Dwight Knowlton, who is awesome author, Little Red Racing Car, small silver speedster. Dwight was in on it. I said, I have to make this announcement. I got my dream car. So Dwight's literally photoshopping a 356 in a sonogram, puts my name on it, puts 3:56 p.m. I said, well, my lucky number is 38. So put 38 seconds. We did this whole sonogram. I had my parents show up with balloons to the Experience Center, whether it's going to be a boy or a girl. Had green balloons as a kind of a hint, and pink balloons. Took pictures so I could send it to my family. People thought I was actually pregnant, and I was going to say, I'm giving birth to a 356 in a year. And then all this goes down. I'm super excited. Yeah, this is actually what happened. I had the staff at the Experience Center were super happy. We took pictures in the gallery, and my parents are standing next to me with green balloons and pink balloons. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to name it yet. And then God. Yeah, you probably didn't know this part. So within 3 weeks.
I did not know this.
Yeah. So my family was in on it. My aunt's calling like, you're pregnant? How did you get pregnant? And I go, no, I'm actually having a car. I'm giving birth to a car in about a year. And then 3 weeks later, when the whole thing happened, they said, you know what, the floor is out. You're going to have to completely replace the floor. Rod is such a lifesaver, and it's so nice that I can call him a brother because I can pick up the phone and say, Rod, help me out. And he's like, what are we doing? What are we getting into? And then that's basically, looking at everything, it was going to cost me probably upwards of $150,000. And I said,
God. Yeah.
Did I make a mistake? So I sold it back to my friends, which is great. And then I went to Jade's birthday party, and I know that you, obviously, Jade's awesome. And went to her.
Jade Emery,
Jade Emery. Yep. So my little sister too. So went to her 16, or sweet 16. Almost in tears, not quite. Almost in tears with Rod, going, Rod, I almost had the car of my dreams. I waited for so long. I never thought I was going to be able to do it. I found the car that was actually reasonably priced, but I didn't know that it was going to be as much as it was. And he's like, Jen, he literally puts his hands, he's like, Jen, it's going to be okay. We're going to put this out in the universe. I'm telling you, you're going to find it, but tell me what you have to have. I said, Rod, I just want Smyrna Green. And I kid you not, like Monday morning, 8 a.m., he sends me this text message, and he goes, I don't know how this is possible, but I found your car. Somebody from Santa Cruz was on a walk in a neighborhood. The car was uncovered. It had a 99-cent for sale sign in the window with a phone number on it. It was a 1963, said Smyrna Green. And Rod goes, I just have one of those feelings. We put it out on the universe on Saturday. Here it is. He goes, I told you I wasn't going to post anything, because he was going to originally post and say, hey, I'm looking for a Smyrna Green. But because Jade's birthday was on that Saturday, he didn't want Jade to think, or anyone to think, that he was buying it for his daughter. So he was going to wait a little bit. Yeah, so that's actually what happened. So before he even posted it, all of a sudden he gets this crazy, random message from a guy that's a fan, because everyone's a fan of Rod. Who doesn't love Rod? And so that was just the craziest thing. So we were trying to get a hold of the guy, couldn't get a hold of the guy. So I'm like, oh no, he sold it. Like, I missed out my window of opportunity. Rod's like, again, Jen, just put it out there in the universe, stay positive, you're good. And so I stayed positive, and then Rod talked to him, I talked to him. And then with Rennsport happening in 2018, and I said, okay, let me just go up. So as soon as I got up to Monterey, I kept cruising down to Santa Cruz, and I called Rod, and it was late at night, and he had to go into a bathroom because he was at he was probably getting some honorable award or some trophy for being awesome. As Rod probably does. And he literally said, I'm sneaking into the bathroom to call you. I'm not supposed to be on my phone right now. I said, Rod, I'm in front of the car. I can't see anything. I'm using my phone's flashlight. This guy has records dating back to like 1994. Harry Pello, I'm singing all the Jack Staggs, big 356 people. I go, I know you would know these people. I don't know these people yet, but I know who they are. And he goes, okay, buy the car. I said, like right now? Like, I can't really see the car. He goes, did you drive it? I go, I drove it for a mile. He goes, does it work? I go, it works. He goes, just buy the car. And if anything, he goes, I'll give you contingency. If you don't like it, I'll buy it from you. I was like, oh, okay.
Done.
That's like buying a pair. Like buying a pair of shoes and saying, oh, you know what? They don't fit. I'm going to take them back. You can't really take a car back, especially when it's as far away. So that's actually what happened. So when I bought it, I took it to his place. I trailered it, took it to his place, and helped my dad actually. And I went up and spent some time at Rod's garage because he is awesome, because he knows what he's doing. And obviously we're new to this. So to spend the time with my dad and having Rod's dad around, and Gary talking to my dad, it's just super, super cool. I love the fact that, and this because I'm a huge fan, not only do I call Rod my brother, but everyone from that family is talented, and they, Rod comes from such a solid, concrete, super solid foundation of a family, and his parents are always there. And it's like, I'm very close to my parents, I'm very close to my family, and it's just really nice to see that, because you don't see that too much. And I love promoting that. I love seeing that, because it's like, how my dad and I are, my mom and I are, and it's just super, super cool. So that was a really special moment, and that is my dream car. And as Jay and Nicole Ryan said, it's like the dead cars girl. And I said, what does that mean? And they're like, well, Jerry Seinfeld or somebody had said, well, unless I'm dead, that's only the time that somebody would actually be able to take that car from me. So
I can't imagine selling them for any price, really, because Lee's put so much heart and soul into it, and every little nut has been shined up and touched by his hands. So I think it's really important. We could probably talk for like 4 more days. We should probably start our own show. But there's one last thing that is kind of a personality thing of yours. You match your shoes to your cars. So every car you get into, it seems to, like, what shoes are you wearing and what car did you drive today?
You're funny. Yeah. So I've always had a thing. I feel like, as women, and that's what I love about you, Lara, is because, we can relate, we can do the tomboy thing, but then we can also super be girly, and you're girly and you have a great mix because you're such a tomboy. We can hang out, we can talk cars, and we can talk about our hair smelling like fuel, but then we can easily switch in 5 seconds and talk about you being, working for St. John, who I love St. John. That's an amazing place. And, you can have this, like, just a really good balance. And so, I actually just got back from the Porsche Experience Center. As you know, I had to go move some motorsports cars. So I actually got to get sweaty, unfortunately, because it's so hot in the race cars. But I was moving some cars with Eric Skirmitz. So I drove my 356 there. And today I'm wearing my Pirelli shoes, which are custom made, which are super cool. I don't think you can see this, but the guy that made the shoe actually stamped on my lucky number 38, which is super cool. Pirelli makes these, if you go to Italy, and some of the race car drivers have actually had some shoes made by them, but they're the most comfortable sneakers that I have. That's so awesome. I wear those. Besides Nick Hunsinger, I have pretty much every single pair of his shoes. I love them. They're super comfortable. So depending on what I'm wearing, I'm usually in either a Hunsinger version, my Pirelli shoes, just because they're literally one of one. And I've got 3 of them. So I've got 3 one of ones.
Oh, very nice.
But I match.
Very nice.
Unless I'm in my shoes. I'm usually at the work, when I'm at the workplace and I have to work, I'm obviously not in sneakers, so I'm wearing heels, and I do match my heels to my car. That has to happen.
We have to keep something feminine about it.
Yes. We have to find a pair of shoes to match your Lee green. which I have not seen yet, but I think that we need to get a pair of heels to match those, or a pair of custom Lara sneakers for that weekend.
My little cheap little Adidas that I wear. That's what I've been known for lately because I've just been wearing them. But well, thank you so much for coming and joining me. There's so many more questions. I wanted to talk about the track a little bit, but we are we have an editor that has to edit our words, and that's hard with us. It's just bad because I feel like I could talk to you forever about all of this. And I really am thankful that I was able to get you. I know how busy you've been, and you were almost a no-get because she is the hardest working woman in motorsports. And so we put in a second call to the Queen of England, and we got her first. And then we just had to back out because, I mean, Jen is not an easy get. Let me just put it that way. She is so busy at all times, but I just love that you came through for me and that you shared your stories with me. And I miss you. I miss you. And the sun is coming in and it's starting to get hot. So no one needs hot light is what I say. So let's just end it. All right.